Good evening. Welcome to the State of Business on our television with me, Kavishka Pereira. Let's take a look at today's headlines. National policy on construction has received government approval, says Minister Premadasa. Percentage of contracts running into contractual disputes, the biggest challenge to construction industry, says Minister Ranawaka. News in detail. Build SL 2019 Housing and Construction Expo, organized by the Chamber of Construction Industry Sri Lanka, was launched today at the BMICH for the 15th time. Speaking during the inauguration ceremony, Minister of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs Sajith Premadasa stated that the construction industry needs to be nurtured with strategic direction and holistic vision, as it is a key driver of the economy.
Being the main driver of economic growth, needs to be nurtured with strategic directions and a holistic vision, ensuring its sustainable growth to achieve national economic development. My ministry has already introduced a policy framework for the industry through the National Policy on Construction, for the formulation of which all of you have contributed. The national policy has already received the approval of the government and has been published. In addition, 8 rules and regulations under the Construction Industry Development Act, number 33 of 2014, addressing the main areas of the construction industry, have been published, and approval of the Parliament has already been obtained. Another 5 rules and regulations have been sent to the government printer to be published.
Minister Premadasa also elaborated upon steps taken to regulate foreign contractors vying for local construction contracts in order to protect local contractors.
One of the main concerns frequently being brought to my attention by a majority of your membership is the increasing domination of foreign contractors in the local construction scene. You have repeatedly urged that their participation in local projects need to be properly regulated. Addressing these concerns of the stakeholders, I've already published regulations on the registration of foreign contractors as per the provisions of Construction Industry Development Act, according to which all foreign contractors have to be registered with the CEDA before a project being awarded to them.
Speaking during the inauguration ceremony of Build SL 2019 Housing and Construction Expo, Minister of Megapolis and Western Development Partly Chompika Ranawaka outlined the major development projects that are currently underway.
In January this year, you witnessed the completion of the first phase of the Perth City, which has added 269 hectares to the land mass of Sri Lanka. Last week, you witnessed the signing of consultancy agreement with Japan for the development of a light rail transit system. Under its first phase, which will be operational by 2024, the travel time for the 16-kilometer stretch from Malambay to Port will come down just 32 minutes. In the meantime, the first of the multimodal transport hub built in Kotawa will be opened on 31st March this month. The construction work of the first phase of scientific solid waste dump at the Aruwakkaru has already been completed, and it is ready to accommodate solid waste generated in Colombo and elsewhere for well over next few decades' time. In order to resolve the long-standing issue of slums and shanties in Colombo, we are on course to complete 20,000 housing units and by settle 20,000 families by 2020.
Speaking further, Minister Ranawaka also highlighted upon several issues that are currently plaguing the Sri Lankan construction industry.
One of the important performance indicators for the industry would be the percentage of construction contracts that run into a contractual dispute, largely delayed and discontinued, and then end up in arbitration or litigation. Perhaps an even more important indicator would be the percentage value of the total construction industry budget that such failed construction projects represent. I don't know if CCI is already carrying out such an analysis of the industry. If they are not, I would urge them to begin immediately. We are all aware that there's a significant number of construction projects that have been delayed, disrupted, or even discontinued due to default in contractors in the public sector as well as the private sector.
The report regarding inflation for February 2019 released by the Statistics Department of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka states that Sri Lanka's headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the National Consumer Price Index increased to 2.4% in January 2019 from 1.2% in January 2018, mainly as a result of the base effect. Meanwhile, year-on-year non-food inflation increased to 6.7% in February 2019 from 6.5% in January 2019, while food inflation also increased to minus 2.9% in February 2019 from minus 4.8% in January 2019. The change in the NCPI measured on an annual average basis marginally decreased to 1.7% in February 2019 from 1.8% in January 2019. The month-on-month change of the NCPI was minus 0.5% in February 2019. This was mainly due to decrease in the prices of the items in the food category where vegetables, green chilies, rice, coconuts, limes, big onion and banana recorded significant decreases. However, on month-on-month basis, the prices of the items in the non-food category increased, among which the education subcategory recorded the highest increase. Further, health, transport, alcoholic beverages and tobacco, and housing and water, electricity, gas and other fuel subcategories also reported increases during the month. The core inflation, which reflects the underlying inflation in the economy, increased from 5.1% in January 2019 to 5.5% in February 2019 on year-on-year basis. Meanwhile, annual average core inflation was also increased from 2.7% in January 2019 to 3.0% in February 2019. Stay tuned for more news after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Speaking during the inauguration ceremony of Build SL 2019 Housing and Construction Expo, Chairman of the CCI Ranjit Gunatilaka expressed the following regarding the Sri Lankan construction industry.
The construction industry, maybe some people don't know, but some people fully aware. We are lucky that we have a national policy for construction industry. This was established with the incorporation of Act on the industry in 2014. But to what extent we keep this construction policy stable and sound in the future? For that, as a duty of the Chamber, we organize similar events even in the future, and also, more importantly, we organize the seminars which educate all these parties and giving enough exposure for the regulators and authorities as well as end users or the affected parties about what is happening in engineering issues or the important timely engineering issues.
Also speaking during the event, Chief Delegate of the Delegation of German Industry and Commerce, Andreas Hergenrother, stressed upon the importance of energy conservation through the use of innovations in construction.
Today, the energy consumption increases per year in Sri Lanka by 5%. We have currently situations for the industry, but also for private consumption of electricity cuts. The consumption of energy in buildings is more than 30%. Through the introduction of standards in buildings, quality standards for the insulation of walls, of roofs, of fundaments, of windows, of frames of windows and other materials, we could achieve a lot. In Germany, through these legislations, the primary consumption related to the GDP from 2000 to 2017 could be reduced by 25%. That is an enormous potential to save energy, but also to increase living conditions, because better insulated buildings and better also air-conditioned buildings increase health standards and also the conditions of buildings. And we would like to showcase to our pavilion and to our conference what opportunities do exist to set up solutions to face these challenges that we have to face worldwide and to save energy and to improve living conditions.
The increase in taxes on imported vehicles in Sri Lanka is likely to cause the growth in motor insurance policy premiums to slow in the near term, says Fitch Ratings. The government's 2019 budget presented in March increased excise duties on import of fuel-powered and hybrid passenger motor vehicles based on their engine capacities. The government also introduced a luxury tax on vehicles with a cost, insurance and freight value exceeding 3.5 million, 4 million and 6 million rupees for fuel, hybrid and electric vehicles respectively. Fitch expects these measures to further reduce new vehicle registrations and cause a slowdown in the new business growth of the motor insurance segment, which accounted for around 60% of the overall gross written premiums of non-life insurers in the past 3 years. The government has in recent years increased taxes on vehicle imports mainly to curtail the outflow of foreign exchange and reduce motor traffic congestion in the cities. The number of registrations of brand new and pre-owned motor cars and three-wheelers was subdued over the past 12 to 24 months due to the high import duties and the cut in the upper band of loan-to-value ratios associated with vehicle leases. The growth in motor insurance premiums slowed considerably as a result to 13.7% in 2017 from 19.1% in 2015. Sri Lanka ranked 130th with a score of 4.366, slipping 14 notches from 116th last year in the World Happiness Report 2018, which ranks 156 countries by their happiness levels. The report, released in advance of UN World Happiness Day on March 20th, evaluated the countries on a number of factors including per capita income, social support, health, life expectancy, social freedom, generosity and absence of corruption, and assigned a score on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 representing the best possible life and 0 the worst. This year's World Happiness Report focused on happiness and the community, how happiness has evolved over the past dozen years, with a focus on the technology, social norms, conflicts and government policies that have driven those changes. The 2019 report ranked Finland at the top of the list, followed closely by Denmark, Norway, Iceland, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Sweden, New Zealand, Canada and Austria in the top 10. In South Asia, India slipped 7 spots from last year to rank 140th in the Happiness Index. Pakistan ranked 67th, Bhutan 95th, Nepal 100th, Bangladesh at 125th, and Afghanistan ranked at 154th in the bottom. Sri Lankan government is planning on enacting the Cybersecurity Act within the next 2 months in an ambitious drive to protect cyberspace and citizens from emerging cyber threats. The Act will provide for the establishment of a high-level security agency for Sri Lanka and empower Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team. In addition, the government has already approved the National Information and Cybersecurity Strategy to be implemented over a period of 5 years from 2019 to 2023. The European Union, in collaboration with the Ministry of Digital Infrastructure and Information Technology, launched the Cyber Resilience for Development project this week. The multi-country EU-funded project aims to increase the security and resilience of information infrastructure and networks, supporting public and private enterprises, infrastructure and utility services. The 3.5-year project, with a budget of €11 million, will focus specifically on strengthening cybersecurity policy, strategy and systems, increasing Sri Lanka's ability to respond to breaches in cybersecurity, and encouraging international partnerships and networks to share expertise and information required to ensure cyber resilience. Stay tuned for stock updates after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 31.25 points to close at 5,540.05, and the S&P/SL 20 dropped 16.37 points to close at 2,724.94. The turnover was 522.8 million rupees and 20.3 million shares were traded. Next up is Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap of the bulletin for the day. Join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. with Biz Roundup for more of the very latest. Thank you and good night.